Welcome and thanks for joining me. In this presentation, we will explore whether sodium bicarbonate is a performance enhancer exclusively for sprinters, or whether it can offer benefits to endurance athletes as well. You may know baking soda as a pantry staple, but in sports science it is recognized for its ability to buffer acid and delay fatigue. We will take an evidence-based approach to this question by examining research on sprint events, endurance races, and everything in between. By the end, you should understand how this inexpensive buffer works and when it may or may not be worth including in your training and competition routine. Sodium bicarbonate is often heralded as a low-cost buffer for high-intensity efforts. Because of this, many assume it is meant only for sprinters and power athletes. However, some endurance athletes wonder if it can help them too. In this section, we will set up the debate by outlining the roles of sodium bicarbonate in both sprint and endurance contexts. We will consider whether a pantry staple can benefit only those who go all out for a brief time, or if it has a place in longer races with occasional bursts of intensity. Baking soda raises blood pH and helps clear hydrogen ions from working muscles. This buffering mechanism is especially important during short, intense bursts when acidosis builds quickly and limits force production. By increasing the body's ability to neutralize acid, sodium bicarbonate may allow athletes to maintain peak power for slightly longer. We will explore how this translates to different sports and race scenarios, keeping in mind that the benefits depend on both the event duration and the athlete's ability to tolerate the supplement. There is an ongoing debate over who benefits most from sodium bicarbonate supplementation. High-intensity athletes such as 400-meter runners, rowers, and combat sports competitors often swear by it. Meanwhile, endurance athletes tend to skip it, believing it offers little for steady efforts. To form a balanced view, we will look at meta-analyses and real-world use cases from both camps. Understanding the nuances of these findings will help you decide if bicarbonate fits into your own sport or event. When you ingest sodium bicarbonate, it dissolves into sodium and bicarbonate ions, increasing the concentration of bicarbonate in your blood. This boost in circulating bicarbonate enhances the blood's ability to buffer hydrogen ions that accumulate during high-intensity exercise. The buffering effect is dose-dependent up to a point, but research shows that benefits level off beyond roughly 0.3 grams per kilogram of body weight. Above this level, additional bicarbonate does not significantly increase performance and often results in more gastrointestinal discomfort. Supplementation with sodium bicarbonate gently raises blood pH, making the blood slightly more alkaline. This creates a stronger gradient for hydrogen ions to leave the muscle and enter the bloodstream during anaerobic metabolism. In effect, the more alkaline environment helps maintain force production by slowing down the decline in muscle pH that accompanies intense efforts. Without sufficient buffering, pH drops rapidly and fatigue arrives sooner. By boosting bicarbonate levels in the blood, you can delay this decline and sustain performance for a little longer. During intense exercise, hydrogen ions accumulate inside muscle cells, contributing to muscle burn and fatigue. Bicarbonate in the blood binds to these ions, encouraging them to move out of the muscle to maintain pH balance. This improved efflux of hydrogen delays the onset of acidosis in the muscle, which translates to a modest performance boost. Remember though that modest is the key word. Bicarbonate is not magic, but it can provide a small edge when everything else is dialed in. Sprint and middle distance events rely heavily on anaerobic glycolysis for energy. Rapid adenosine triphosphate turnover in these events creates lactate and hydrogen ions, placing significant stress on the body's acid-base balance. Bicarbonate supplementation supports this energy system by boosting the buffering capacity of the blood. When demand on the glycolytic system is high, extra buffering can help maintain performance. This is why this supplement is popular among sprinters and middle distance athletes who train and compete at intensities where acid buildup is a major limiter. In short, all-out efforts, hydrogen ions accumulate faster than the body can clear them. This rapid accumulation leads to a steep decline in muscle pH and a corresponding drop in muscle function. Extra bicarbonate helps clear these hydrogen ions more effectively, keeping muscles firing longer. By mitigating the drop in pH, sodium bicarbonate can extend high-intensity efforts just enough to make a difference in a race or training session where seconds matter. Sprinting imposes extreme acid-base stress compared with steady-state endurance. During repeated anaerobic bursts, the body's intrinsic buffers may be insufficient to handle the onslaught of hydrogen ions. Supplemental bicarbonate alleviates this stress by adding to the extracellular buffer pool. This additional buffering capacity can be especially useful during training cycles that include frequent high-intensity sessions, as it may help athletes complete more quality work before fatigue sets in. Most research suggests that sodium bicarbonate works best for high-intensity efforts lasting from about 30 seconds to roughly 10 to 12 minutes. This includes events like 400 to 1500 meter runs, 100 to 400 meter swims, 2-kilometer rowing races, and various combat sport bouts. Longer durations rely more on aerobic metabolism and respond less to extracellular buffering. If your event falls within this time frame, bicarbonate supplementation may be worth considering. Umbrella reviews reveal that sodium bicarbonate can boost peak and mean power outputs in tests like the Wingate cycle test. These improvements are thought to stem from enhanced buffering and faster lactate clearance, allowing athletes to maintain high power output for longer. The benefits are primarily seen in short, all-out efforts where acid buildup is rapid. Athletes seeking marginal gains in peak anaerobic performance may find bicarbonate particularly useful when training for explosive events. Meta-analyses show small to moderate benefits for muscular endurance tests and 2,000-meter rowing events when athletes supplement with sodium bicarbonate. These effects may translate to sports like CrossFit, high rocks competitions, and combat sports, where repeated bursts of high-intensity work matter. However, evidence quality varies and results are inconsistent across studies. Some athletes experience noticeable gains while others see little difference. It underscores the importance of individual testing and realistic expectations. Some umbrella reviews report benefits for endurance events lasting roughly 45 seconds to 8 minutes. Examples include sprint finishes in middle distance running, swimming, and cycling. In these situations, athletes may benefit from a boost during the final stretch when acid loads spike. Beyond this window, results become inconsistent and depend on race dynamics, athlete training status, and the specific demands of the event. Meta-analyses highlight that bicarbonate is not a universal performance booster. They show no significant differences for general mean power, maximal strength, or repeated sprint ability across different sports and protocols. The effects depend heavily on context, including the sport, the duration of the effort, the athlete's training level, and the dosing protocol. This variability means athletes should consider their specific event and physiology before supplementing, rather than assuming bicarbonate will automatically enhance performance. Many endurance races end with an all-out sprint, where lactate and hydrogen levels skyrocket. Supplemental bicarbonate can give runners and cyclists an extra kick in the final 30 to 90 seconds of a race by delaying the onset of acidosis and preserving power output. Middle distance runners and cyclists who regularly finish events with a hard push may see the most benefit. It is important to train with this supplement to see whether it makes a noticeable difference for your own sprint finish. Climbing steep hills or launching an attack in a bike race requires a burst of power and relies heavily on anaerobic metabolism. These efforts produce acid quickly, making bicarbonate's buffering action useful. Endurance cyclists and trail runners can exploit baking soda during climbs or uphill surges. As always, athletes should practice these situations in training to see whether the supplement improves their ability to sustain power during the climb without uncomfortable side effects. Breaking away from a peloton or surging to drop competitors triggers intense anaerobic demand. Bicarbonate may support these tactical moves by preserving high power output for just a little longer. Cyclists and runners considering breakaway tactics should practice surges with supplementation to gauge benefit and ensure their stomach tolerates the dose. The aim is to make a decisive move while keeping discomfort at bay. High-intensity intervals such as VO2 max repeats or fartlek sessions generate large amounts of hydrogen ions. Using bicarbonate before such sessions might enhance training quality by allowing athletes to sustain high power output across intervals. This strategy is best reserved for serious athletes who track their sessions closely and can adjust their dosing based on how they feel and perform. It is not recommended for casual training or early in a program when basic conditioning is still being built. Bicarbonate is not helpful for every situation. Easy Zone 2, cardio and low-intensity long runs or rides rely primarily on aerobic metabolism with minimal acid buildup. Steady efforts lasting over an hour are unlikely to benefit from extracellular buffering, because acid accumulation is not the limiting factor. Pure maximal strength tests such as 1 repetition maximum lifts and slow endurance pace also do not need bicarbonate. Save the supplement for activities where acid load is a real performance limiter. Most practitioners use between 0.2 and 0.3 grams of sodium bicarbonate per kilogram of body mass, taken somewhere between 60 and 180 minutes before exercise. Start at the low end and increase only if you tolerate it well. Larger doses do not usually boost performance and can increase the likelihood of gastrointestinal upset. Timing is highly individual because each person absorbs and peaks at different times. Test your dosing protocol during training to find when your blood bicarbonate peaks and how your stomach feels. To make dosing simple, consider these examples. A person weighing 60 kilograms would take about 12 grams at 0.2 2 grams per kilogram and 18 grams at 0.3 grams per kilogram. A 75 kilogram person would take 15 grams at the lower end and 22.5 grams at the higher end. At 90 kilograms, the range is 18 to 27 grams. Use a digital scale to measure, not a scoop, and always test dosing in training to avoid surprises on race day. Split your total dose into 2 or 3 servings over 1 to 2 hours to reduce gastrointestinal distress. Enteric-coated capsules or multi-day loading protocols can further enhance tolerability by releasing bicarbonate more slowly or spreading intake across days. Never take sodium bicarbonate for the first time on competition day. Use training sessions as a laboratory to discover what dose and timing work best for your body without causing stomach upset. Common side effects of bicarbonate include bloating, nausea, diarrhea, and stomach cramps. These symptoms often increase with higher doses and occur more frequently in sensitive individuals. If your stomach rebels, any potential performance gain disappears because you will feel uncomfortable and distracted. Pay close attention to how your body reacts and modify your protocol accordingly. If symptoms persist, it may be better to forego the supplement altogether. Sodium bicarbonate adds a substantial sodium load to your diet. People with high blood pressure, kidney disease or heart disease, or those on sodium-restricted diets should consult a healthcare professional before using it. Always test your protocol in training and monitor your blood pressure and overall well-being. If you have a history of gastrointestinal disorders or take medications that affect acid balance, talk with your doctor before supplementing. Safety should always come before potential performance gains. Sodium bicarbonate is best suited for sprints, intervals, combat sports, and events lasting roughly 30 seconds to about 10 to 12 minutes. When properly dosed, it reliably enhances peak power and anaerobic capacity by increasing the blood's buffering capacity. If high-intensity fatigue is a defining feature of your event, bicarbonate can be a valuable tool. It is not a substitute for training, but it can provide a small edge when every second counts. For long, steady endurance efforts, bicarbonate offers little benefit. It may help only during short surges, climbs, or sprint finishes within a race, but should not be relied upon as a general aerobic booster. Focus first on proper training, nutrition, and pacing strategies. Bicarbonate is best viewed as a situational tool rather than a cornerstone of an endurance nutrition plan. In summary, sodium bicarbonate is a buffer for high-intensity fatigue rather than a magic endurance fuel. If you race or train with short, intense bursts, it may provide an edge when used at the right dose and timing. Success depends on personal tolerance, careful experimentation, and consideration of the demands of your event. If you are curious, test it in training and see if the modest benefits outweigh the potential discomfort. If you compete in longer, steady events, focus on other strategies instead.